For more than a week now, Europe's largest active volcano has been erupting almost continuously, and it just caused the worst disruption Sicily's busiest airport has seen in over 20 years. More than a third of nearly 2,000 scheduled flights have been canceled. Another 600 were diverted. Passengers have been stranded at the height of summer holiday season with no fixed end date in sight. This is Mount Etna, and it isn't erupting once and stopping. It keeps reigniting, closing. The airport, easing off, and then shutting it down all over again. Today we're breaking down what's actually happening at Etna right now, why this eruption has become so disruptive, and why this pattern keeps repeating. No guessing, no dramatizing, just the facts, the science, and the real stakes. According to Italy's National Institute of Geophysics and Volcanology, INGV, Mount Etna's current eruptive phase began in late July 2026 and has continued with fluctuating intensity into mid-August. Activity is centered on the Voragine crater, one of Etna's 4 summit craters, with 2 active vents at approximately 2,750 meters and 2,360 meters in elevation, feeding lava flows that have formed complex, overlapping lava fields in the Valle del Bove and Valle del Leone, according to the volcano monitoring outlet, The Watchers. A new eruptive vent also opened in the Valle del Bove near Monte Ritman at around 2,550 meters, according to Wanted in Rome. The eruption has alternated repeatedly between intense ash emission and lava fountaining, and the Toulouse Volcanic Ash Advisory Center has moved Etna's aviation alert level back and forth between orange and red being the highest classification for aircraft hazard, as the eruption has waxed and waned throughout the past 2 weeks. On August 10th, ash rising to roughly 4.6 kilometers, about 15,000 feet, was observed drifting south at approximately 20 kilometers per hour, with a sulfur dioxide cloud tracked drifting as far as the Libyan coast. The airport that keeps closing and reopening, Catania's Vincenzo Bellini Airport, known as Fontana Rossa, sits just 29 miles from Etna's summit and serves as the main gateway to eastern Sicily, one of Italy's most popular tourist destinations, and Italy's 5th busiest airport by passenger traffic. Because it sits so close to the volcano, it's regularly the first piece of infrastructure affected whenever Etna's ash drifts across its approach paths. The current crisis has played out in repeated cycles rather than a single closure. Arrivals were first suspended on August 8th, according to Al Jazeera, then restored by the following weekend once conditions improved, but the reprieve proved short-lived, and arrivals were suspended again on August 10th, until 5 p.m. local time, according to AirHelp, with airport operator SAC diverting dozens of flights operated by Ryanair, EasyJet, ITA Airways, and Wizz Air to other airports, chiefly Palermo. By August 14th, continuing volcanic activity forced the airport's most severe closure yet, with SAC confirming all arrivals would remain suspended until at least 2 a.m. On August 15th, and Al Jazeera reporting this stretch as the greatest disruption the airport has experienced in more than 2 decades. According to Reuters, more than a third of the roughly 1,974 flights scheduled between the preceding Thursday and that Wednesday were canceled outright, with another 600 diverted during the same period, disruption landing squarely at the height of summer holiday travel season. It's worth explaining why airports respond to volcanic ash with a level of caution that goes well beyond how they treat ordinary weather delays. Volcanic ash isn't like the soft, fluffy ash produced by burning wood. It's made of tiny, hard, glassy rock and mineral fragments, some fine enough to remain suspended in the atmosphere for hours or days after an eruption. When an aircraft flies through an ash cloud, that abrasive material can sandblast the windshield, reducing pilot visibility, and critically, it can be ingested directly into jet engines. Because jet engines operate at extremely high temperatures, volcanic ash can actually melt inside the combustion chamber and then re-solidify on cooler internal engine components, a process so capable of causing complete engine failure mid-flight. This is precisely why aviation authorities treat a red aviation color code indicating ash reaching the surface with ongoing eruption as grounds for immediate flight suspension rather than a cautious slowdown, and why airports as far as tens of kilometers from an actively erupting volcano still close their airspace entirely when ash drifts into approach and departure corridors. For the thousands of passengers affected, a natural question has been whether they're entitled to compensation. According to AirHelp, because this disruption stems directly from volcanic ash, a circumstance entirely outside any airline's control, compensation under EU Regulation EC 261, the rule that normally entitles passengers to cash compensation for delays and cancellations caused by airline controllable issues, is unlikely to apply. That doesn't leave passengers without any support, however. Airlines are still obligated to provide care, assistance, rebooking or refunds where needed, even when the underlying cause falls outside the compensation rules. To ease the disruption, Italian rail operator Trenitalia added extra services connecting Catania with Palermo, including a direct train from Palermo's airport station, giving stranded travelers an alternative route across Sicily while flight operations remained suspended. Mount Etna is widely recognized as one of the world's most active volcanoes, and disruptions like this one, while severe, aren't unprecedented for this specific airport. According to reporting reviewed for this video, a similar eruption in July 2026 forced the cancellation of all flights to and from Catania for a full day, demonstrating how quickly conditions can shift once ash reaches active flight paths. The airport had also been forced to temporarily close earlier in the summer following an unrelated fire, meaning this stretch of the summer season has proven especially difficult for Sicily's aviation infrastructure well beyond this specific eruption alone. Beyond aviation, Etna's heightened activity this year has created friction on the ground as well. Following restrictions imposed by Catania city authorities on excursions to view the volcano's lava flows earlier this year, mountain guides, who lead tourists up Etna staged demonstrations, arguing the new restrictions were excessive, given that the lava flows involved move slowly enough to be viewed safely, as had been done in the past. That tension between genuine aviation and ground safety concerns, and a tourism industry heavily dependent on visitor access to one of Sicily's most iconic natural attractions, reflects a recurring challenge for communities living alongside a volcano that is both a major economic draw and a persistent, unpredictable hazard. Casualties, or property destruction. It's a story about how a volcano can repeatedly disrupt a region's entire economic and transportation infrastructure without producing a single dramatic, catastrophic event. Sicily's tourism economy depends heavily on reliable air, access during peak summer season, and a pattern of repeated, unpredictable closures, even when each individual closure lasts only a day or two, compounds into a much larger economic and logistical burden the longer Etna's eruptive phase continues. INGV's Etna Observatory continues monitoring the volcano's eruptive activity in real time through surveillance cameras and seismic instruments, watching for any further escalation or, alternatively, signs the current phase is beginning to subside. The Toulouse